Here we are assembling the Tactical Woodgas 800 watt inverter for backup power, along with two add-on kits to add extra capacity. So we're going to actually have one main kit and two add-ons for 3 total batteries. So I have, over 300 amp hours of capacity ready for backup power. So I've lined them up with the positive, all on the far side, and on the near side, negative, negative, negative. It's important you don't mix this step up. Get them all lined up. Get them lined up, all positives on one side, all negatives on the other side. Now, we're going to connect the jumper cables together. And as you do this, it's important that you keep an eye on the loose end that you're not tightening. If I let the loose end here come over and touch the negative end, sparks are going to fly and you're going to have fire damage or fire potential, and you're going to have possible damage to your battery. So we're going to connect positive on the third one to positive here on the second one. I'm going to see how I hold that in place with a nut while I grab the next wire. I'm going to tuck this wire down in between where it can't get anywhere. Then I'm going to take the nut off and add this wire on. And see how that's down way away from any negative leads. And then I'm going to put this is the side where I'm going to have the actual inverter connected. Now, if you've got any kind of a modern deep cycle battery, you're going to have these screw-on terminals. But if you don't have that, you can get red and black matched sets at any kind of auto parts store, and they fit on the traditional post here. And you screw that down, and then in that case, you would attach either on the nut here or on the nut here your post. So this is for dealing with less common batteries that don't have this extra stud for screwing on. So now we've got the negatives on there and just kind of finger tight on the nuts. Let's do the same thing on the negative side. Now, I like to charge these up ahead of time so they're all charged and you don't have different charge states. If you've got one battery that's all the way full and one that's nearly dead, when you do this first connection here, you're going to get some spark. Not a whole lot, but it may startle you. And you can avoid that simply by starting out with fully charged batteries. See how there's no spark there? That's because they're of the same level of charge, and so there's no big energy to transfer between the batteries. So now I'm doing the negative side. So positive is red and negative is black. You'll have an easier time because you'll have 2 hands to do this. My filming assistant is not with me today. And then here's the final battery to battery connector. So that's stage 1. Is we've got positive to positive to positive, we've got negative to negative to negative. So it maintains a 12-volt system. If you had gone, positive to negative, then positive to negative, then you'd have a 36 volt and your inverter will die. So don't do that. Do it just like I show here: positive, 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 negative, negative, negative. So now I'm going to push these down out of the way because the lids are going to come in, and basically the lid is going to overlap and go down. So we want these to come in and go down and then back up on this side. So for the third battery here and the second battery, we're ready to tighten down because there's no further connections required. Now, if you've got a socket to tighten this up, I'd recommend that. If you have a wrench like I'm using today, use a short wrench. See how if I touch it on here, it's too short to meet to touch over onto the negative side. That's something that people make mistakes on. These are a real long wrench, and they tighten it up, and as they tighten it, they run it right into the negative, and you've got a big, low resistance connection, positive to negative. Your energy is going to fly, from positive to negative, and heat and sparks and noise and, damage and danger is going to come from that. So a nice short wrench that can't reach across. So let's see, I've got, don't have them all tightened. Okay, tightened. 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 And you don't have to go nuts with tightening, but they do need to be, nice and firm. Okay, so they're all ready to go. Now I'm going to grab the lid that has the inverter on it. Here's the lid. I've got the setting it up so that the I can see everything. I can see the charger in the back. I can see the inverter in the front. And I've got the leads hanging down on the side here. I'm going to keep them outside the battery box. And then I'm going to lay it across here. I'm going to actually lay it on the second one so I have room to work here. So now, the next part is really easy. So you take the AC plug, just kind of shove it out of the way so it's not cluttering things up. And then we've got the positive here, and I'm going to connect the positive lead from the lid. And you can tell it's positive because it's nice and red. And the negative is nice and black. Now, if you do this backwards, over here you'll see clamps reversed right here. If kind of bad focus there. Anyway, if you see the clamps reversed light on, that tells you that you hooked plus and minus up wrong. It's got some internal protections from that, but we don't want to risk any kind of damage. Okay, one more tightening. Okay, that's nice and tight. Switch hands. Okay, so now your electrical connections to the battery are complete. It's as simple as that. I'm going to take the lid here and bring it over, and I'm going to set it on the first unit here. There we go. Okay, so that's on. I'm going to plug in the AC outlet, and here you see the yellow light coming on charging, and then, yep, there we go. It's charging, and it'll turn green here pretty soon because I had pre-charged these. Now I'm going to stick the lid on. I like to make the lids match so they all kind of point the same direction. I'll snap these down when I've got two hands. But there we go. That's a fully installed and ready to go battery bank. And to let's see, to run the thing, you just turn the power on. It goes red and green until the self-diagnostics are done, and then your AC units are ready to go, and you've got USB. So this thing is ready to go. I'm going to unplug my spare lamp, and I'm going to plug it in here. There we go. I now am running on emergency lighting from this battery bank. These are high efficiency bulbs, so I've got light for a long time. I could plug in the refrigerator freezer on this one, and it'll be ready to go. So there we have it. Installation of a Tactical Woodgas 800 watt inverter station with 2 extra batteries for 340 amp hours of backup power.